Ep.41, and we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Polygon Forest. I am Ubisoft concept artist Vin Hill, and I am joined, as ever, by the indie developer, Mr. Christopher Jarvis.
Hello.
And this week we've got a lot of little bits. We're going to sort of do a quick fire episode, so we should be able to fill out an hour, but it might be a bit short, it might be a bit longer, we'll see. We always say it's going to be short, and it never is, so I should have said anything. But yeah,
short ones, always end up long in the end.
This is true.
There's a joke there somewhere, but yeah.
You said it beautifully, I think. It was fine. It was a fair joke. But yeah, like before we get into all that sort of stuff, if you are interested in listening to more of the podcast, then please go like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Like, tell the algorithm that we've got something good to say, I guess. If not, then you're very welcome to give us a downvote if you want.
Yes, they've got that now, haven't they?
They do, but you won't be able to see it as the viewer, so it'll be in vain. The only people that'll be able to see it is us. I shouldn't have said that because now they're all going to do it. But yeah, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we have got another episode coming. We should have a indie developer roundtable coming up within the next week, and we might be guesting on another podcast, I think, next week at some point. So we'll
Pixel Pints have asked us on.
So,
it's our first trip elsewhere.
Yeah,
as podcasters.
It'll be a new venue, but not really because we'll be in the same house using the same equipment. There'll be a different frame around us, so all of this will look different. Like, it'll be a different logo and Anyway, we'll let you know about that.
We'll let you know
when it comes around. But
did you? Just sorry to stop the flow there, Vin. Did you tweet about this video coming out?
Maybe not. No, I didn't.
Okay.
There we go. Probably hit return. Okay. There we go. Send. There we go. Now we've got a load of people coming our way.
Now we're going to get a load of people coming on. Yeah.
Maybe. Probably not. But yeah, most people will probably watch this in the after recording anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But yes. So what should we talk about first, Chris? There's obviously some big news.
Yes. The biggest news, I think, the biggest one by far, is I don't know if you've heard of this game, Grand Theft Auto.
What's it about?
It's like I don't know. I've not played it, but I've heard good things.
Right. I've heard that you might steal like cars and stuff, but that's.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, you can have guns and cars. It's a car-y gunny shoot.
It doesn't sound like it'd be very popular. Like I don't think anyone will pick that one up.
Well, some people like it, but it must be a very niche audience. Anyway, apparently, it says here they've made 5 of them. So
what? I've never heard of these.
They must be doing well for themselves.
Right.
And the news that I've heard is that they've decided that the 5th one went so well, and they were really surprised by the reaction and audience and money that they got for their little game, that they're going to make a 6th one.
What are the odds? Shocking.
And this made some people very happy, which is great for them. I'm sure it's a very small number. How long are we going to keep this up?
I mean, we should probably drop this, but yeah. Good point. I think,
GTA 6.
GTA 6 has been officially announced and acknowledged.
Officially announced, yeah. In like some sort of tweet, because they did such a hash job of the was it a trilogy that they released?
Yeah, I think that's the reason why they probably announced it, to sort of give them a little bit of a stock boost, because after the definitive edition stuff, like I think
that's it. Definitive edition, which is terrible and just buggy and like not
an awful state of affairs.
Not worthy of the Rockstar name at all. They've done that, the little breadcrumbs, and it worked because people are like, 1, they're surprised, and 2, they're happy. And that to me is like, I thought it was the most obvious thing in the world. Like,
I mean, this is the thing. Like, I don't want to scoff at this too much. Like, obviously, like there are massive fans of this franchise, and they're just like, this is their game, this is what they play, and this is all they play. So, like, I don't want to laugh or scoff at that.
Then fair play to them. Yeah, of course.
But
it's surprising that they're surprised.
Yeah, that's the part that's like confusing me. Like, we didn't know if they were working on a new IP and stuff. It's like, no, you get out of here, man. Of course they were working on GTA 6.
As soon as it stops making money, then they'll stop making the games.
Yeah, GTA 5 has been doing this for years, and like over the past year, I think it's sort of like waned and went to like starting to go to a flat line now. And like, okay, now it's time.
Right,
and that's it. That's all it takes. Like, they know in a year and a half's time that dip is going to be going down, and people aren't going to be buying it as like a new game, because year in year out, that game still sells like gangbusters. So
Yeah.
I think this year, I think ultimately, I think the game probably didn't start production until Red Dead 2 Online was sort of done and dusted, and they've sort of like realized that thing is not going to take off like GTA Online did, and that they've sort of hit that realization of, maybe it's time to shift off and just like focus all of our team's attention onto it. Because the thing about Rockstar games, like, they don't have as many teams as people might think. They sort of view Rockstar as like this, like, they do have multiple studios and stuff, but they're not. They're a company that's very focused on one project at a time, which is a great thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really important thing. Like, they were wholly focused on Red Dead 2, which was great. Obviously, like, critically received. Everyone, a lot of people enjoyed it. It is a great game. I didn't enjoy it as much as others, but like, it's still like it could have been more gamey for me. That's the only thing that I had. Like, it felt more like a cowboy simulator, and just the game felt like it was, I don't know, like I
get that.
Yeah, it's a weird criticism, but I still really enjoyed the game. Still finished it. Still played it. Still loved it. Absolute piece of art.
There are people like, oh, cutscene, skip. I just want to get to the gamey game bit. Like, there are people like that, and that's totally legit and fair enough. And yeah, they probably wouldn't have liked that sort of game, I imagine. Yeah. A lot of it is just Cowboy Simulator is I think it's a positive description of the game.
Yeah.
But it's just what you want, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And because the only time they like outsourced anything was this definitive edition, and then that just, they got egg on their face with that because they did a terrible job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what happens when you outsource. Sometimes you get a terrible job. Not because the people might not be talented or good enough. It's usually a breakdown in communication, which is
without doubt. Yeah. They just cheaped out on the part. Like, no offense to like the small team that developed. I think it was like 20 people or something had to work on the definitive edition by themselves, which is sort of insane if you really think about it.
Wow. Yeah. That's an achievement. Like, just the sheer volume of work involved.
They just shouldn't have been hired to do that job in its totality. Like, and no offense to them, obviously. I think it was just too big of a scope for them to sort of tackle by themselves. So I think that's ultimately what it came down to. But it is very surprising to see. Like, it's the thing that I hate about this story more than anything is just like the insidious sort of clickbaity news articles which you've seen over the last couple of days because of this story coming out. Like, just people like capitalizing on the fact that the only thing that has been said by Rockstar is said, and we are pleased to confirm that we are in active development of our next entry into the Grand Theft Auto series is well underway. That's it. That's all they've said. Like, that is the statement in its totality. But people have been like writing full articles on this, picking it apart, like, well underway. That means that they've been working on it for more than 2 years. And it's just like, you have just shut up. Like, it's in development. We knew that it was going to be in development, in pre-production or post or whatever. The game is coming. It's going to be the last Grand Theft Auto you're going to play for a decade after it comes out, based off GTA 5. So like, it's just, this is the news.
Or longer, because it gets long. Like, each version, like the playtime with player retention, player audience gets longer and longer. So yeah. Who's to say that this could be the last GTA, and they could just update it going forward.
Honestly, I would be really happy if GTA went the same route as what they're sort of doing with The Last of Us, which is they're splitting apart factions and the main campaign. Because I think factions is going to have its own sort of longevity in and of itself, which is a story we're going to get to in a minute anyway. But having those two things split up, it means that factions can just carry on. So if a Last of Us 3 ever came out, then factions would just get added to, rather than like a new factions game would come out, sort of thing. So it's like, I like that idea, and I would really hope that Rockstar do the same thing with GTA Online. I hope that GTA Online just continues on its own entity and doesn't really, like, it'd be nice if they just broke it off altogether and GTA 6 came out and GTA Online, which is all the content from GTA 6, was just added to a GTA Online right now and just upgraded for everything. Like, that'd be great, because then I could enjoy my single player sort of Grand Theft Auto experience, which I traditionally like anyway. I'm not really interested in any of the online stuff. And I think the fan bases would really keep GTA Online alive while the single player, like the reason why GTA 5 has just existed for the last 10 years is
the online.
It's the online stuff. It's not really the single player. People aren't rebuying GTA to replay the single player over and over again. Maybe they are. I don't know. But
I'm sure there'll be some, yeah. But it's probably not all.
Yeah. I mean, it's early days. I think when it comes, it'll come randomly because Rockstar don't really do the E3 cycle stuff. It'll just show up and a trailer will get dropped. But
they don't need to. This is the thing. They're like like GTA can just launch. They can launch it any time. They don't have to worry about it because it's GTA.
Yeah, it's an event.
They can have a slow 2 or 3 years, and it just doesn't even matter. Like if they've got they probably wouldn't if they're not going to, but they could like launch right between God of War and like Horizon Zero Dawn, and they just wouldn't even blink an eye. Like those sort of IPs, it's just not.
Yeah,
this is like another level. This is like it's not. You can't even compare it to Call of Duty because Call of Duty is like yearly, but everyone plays it. So yeah, it's its own thing, really. It's its own entity. There's nothing else like it in the space. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, more power to them. I'm really excited for the fans of the series. I'll definitely play when it comes out because it's GTA. You know, like I'll enjoy it when it comes, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go crazy over this one little statement. Like it was pretty obvious to me that they were working on this already. So it's nice that the devs can now come out and just say, yes, we're working on it.
Devs.
Leave us alone.
It's nice for devs. Yeah, because that must be nice for a dev to be able to say that. I mean, have you had that experience where like, oh, finally I can actually just say I'm working on this and working on that?
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I moved to Montreal and I was working on Watch Dogs Legion, like at the time, and just everyone was like, oh, they're going to make another Watch Dogs. They're going to make another Watch. What are you working on? Are you working on, like, getting constant questions from people, especially to me, like asking me about Assassin's Creed Japan, because I've worked on all that, like, concept art and stuff. And like, oh, you must be working on Assassin's Creed Japan. I bet that's what he's working on. He's definitely working on it. He's got to be working on that, right? Why else would they hire him and stuff like that? It's like, I do draw other stuff as well, guys.
It's not because he's a talented artist.
Right.
It's like, it must be because he drew Assassin's Creed Japan. He invented it.
And then when it got announced, it was like, this is what I've been working on. Now leave me alone, sort of thing. Yeah. Like having that experience is, it's actually really relieving for fans, for developers, to sort of, I don't know, keep fans off their backs for that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's
good.
Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. So good for them. Good for them.
Good for them. What else did you want to dip into?
I mean, we just made mention of this a moment ago with the Last of Us faction stuff. So we can talk about Sony announcing some live services.
Yes. They were going to release... They're planning to release 10 games by 2026.
Yeah, this is pretty nuts.
That right. That's a lot of games. And so that means they must have been... Do you reckon they're going to be staggered? Do you reckon at the end of 2026 we're just going to get 10 games all dropped in one go? It's like, hey, here's your live games. Off you go. Have fun.
Yeah, I'm 10 games is sort of mind-blowing because like that could be anything as well, right? It could be like small, like PlayStation might be dipping their toes in mobile or something, or it's something as big as Last of Us Factions and Twisted Metal, which has sort of been heavily talked about recently as well. So they're live service games.
Do you reckon they'll all be shooters or like something else in the mix?
It's got to be a combination of both. And obviously the main topic that we're going to get to in a bit around Bungie, like there's obviously Destiny and stuff. Does that include anything from those guys? Like it's something that we should probably look into at some point.
Because Destiny, you were saying that Destiny's now a free-to-play game.
Yeah, it's been a free-to-play game for a while, so that it's like the live service of just perpetually adding content to a live service game like Apex Legends and things like that is just, it's not really something that Sony has a lot of experience in. So it's interesting that they've like there's word coming out that there's going to be 10 live service games. So it's sort of like they're ready to jump into this pool sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that sort of works out. But I think the main one for me is Last of Us Factions is going to be a big hitter for those, because Factions 1 was like dearly beloved by the fan base. Like the people that played it, they really, really enjoyed it. And I think they were onto something, and they can really expand into that. And I think that's why it's broken off into its own game now. Not just to cash in, I think it's actually going to get the attention it probably deserves.
Yeah.
You know,
but it's good enough to stand on its own. And
I'm personally more interested in Factions than I am in Last of Us Part 3, like at this point. So that's kind of sad, isn't it? It's the world that we live in.
That's another can of worms, though, isn't it?
That is a different can of worms. But
I'm definitely interested in like well thought out, played the whole game, like a deep dive review of The Last of Us 3 rather than buying the special edition console. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that is.
But that's a tangent. We're going back to the Sony live service games.
Yeah, I mean, like if there's any game out there that would get a live service sort of run of it, like what would you like to see? I guess like from the IPs that they've got, or would you like to see something new?
I would actually like to see something new. I mean, it sounds. I don't know. Some people might like this. Some people might not like this. What I might like is like an Animal Crossing type game, like maybe like a Bug Snacks.
Something a bit more family friendly.
Something more family friendly. Something a bit like left wing for Sony. Something that's not AAA action adventure, just to spice things up and see like them dipping their toe and trying to push some different types of IP, because their core player base is aging. So the people that bought the PlayStation 1 when they were like going out clubbing, they're like having families and getting on a bit now. And so they need to diversify their core demographic. This is the sort of time that they have to be starting to do that. If my assumption is right, that they've been appealing to the person that went out clubbing.
Yeah.
In the 90s or whenever the PlayStation 1 was released. So I'd like to see a bit. I don't want 10 shooters. Like I can't do anything with that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind either way, but like I totally understand like your viewpoint anyway, because I think Twisted Metal is going to be like a racing one, I guess, and they sort of already did something like that with Destruction All Stars, which was a massive flop, all things considered, like to Sony's own standards anyway.
Or is this the point? Is this why they're doing 10? Are they going, we know not all of these are going to make it, so we'll just do 10, and then whatever sticks, and then whatever we can like Days Gone, we can it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It might be just like them trying to put out as many projects as they can, and then the one that does stick, they'll put all their money into it because it'll probably pay off and pay for the other 10 failures, sort of thing. Because that's how live service games go these days.
It is a
free to play. Like
Yeah.
they found the right wordage now for it to be digested enough by gamers, so they don't get angry about it anymore. Because like free to play used to be a bad taboo word, and like the quadruple A like game, the whole Fortnite, Minecraft quadruple A sort of money makers.
Is that what it's called?
They tried to make that stick for a while and it just didn't, because gamers no, that's horrible. But they've sort of settled on live service games. And people are okay with that. People are like, okay, I'm okay with that right verbiage sort of thing, which is hilarious to me because it's still the same thing, guys. You're still making these things to make money.
And everyone's happy. Like when you want to buy a hat and you can buy a hat, like that makes everyone happy. It's just, that's the best way to do it. Like don't leave anything to chance. Don't make anything about gambling.
Sure.
Just have things for sale, and if people want to play the core game for free, they can.
Yes. Yeah. I am all good with this cosmetics sort of microtransaction stuff. I'm totally cool, because it means that the super fans will buy into it, and they absolutely do, and more power to them that they do. But for the average Joe like me that just doesn't adhere to any of that sort of stuff, it just completely passes me by on any game that I play, and I never notice it, like ever. I've never had a single game where it's really pulled me out of the experience. The only one that I've ever mentioned on this podcast anyway was Call of Duty World War II, when you're just running around like going through like Normandy and there's like blood and guts and mud and all this sort of stuff. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's like World War II. And then some guy runs past in a luminous helmet with a pink gun. You'd say, okay, yeah, I remember now. That's the only time that it's really like affected me. But like I don't
certain
really.
IPs.
It
doesn't work.
It just doesn't work in them sort of contexts. But on a new Call of Duty, like it's somewhere that's set in like the modern day, like it totally fits. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
Pink gun dude. Like okay.
With Gears of War, they had like the gold Lancer machine guns, and then they started getting into that. They're like, this is a little silly, but maybe they got an ornamental one, and that's what they're using. Like there could be a in-game reason, like divergent narrative. There could be a potential, backstory to that. But yeah, I'm the same. But I forgot what my point was going to be. But yeah, like with things like Fortnite and stuff, as long as your key core experience of playing a free-to-play game, if you don't buy anything, is positive. Yeah. Instead of like World at War, you've gone and told people on the podcast twice now, like you didn't like that. But if it was something like Fortnite and you're like, hey, I had a great time, it was a blast, people are buying hats, that's great, the gameplay's great, it's a great game, go out and play it, that's super, like, it pays for itself. Like, it doesn't matter that you've paid nothing. Your recommendation to other people is, not yours specifically, Vin, don't want to get too big for your boots, but anyone, anyone that's got a good, positive opinion, you know, that's worth money to Sony, for sure. So there's an incentive there for them to have that free-to-play aspect, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this was announced at a investors presentation, I guess. It was a Japanese investor call or something, and they basically announced that they were going to have more than 10 live services at games by March 2026. The more than bit is interesting.
11 then. 11.
Right, 10 and a bit. 10 and some DLC.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like, there's a lot of speculation. It's just, like, whenever I see these sort of headlines, it's sort of, I'm always like, yeah, probably. Like, that makes sense. There's, like, when they say, oh, like, this company is working on 2 IPs. It's like, okay. Like, every company is working on 2 IPs. Every single, at least 2. Like, nobody's working on just one game.
No, that's, well.
Unless you're Rockstar.
Except you're Rockstar. But, again, that's not news either. So, yeah, I get your point. No. You did mention it about, did you mention Bungie?
No.
Have we touched on that?
No, we probably should, though. That's the big one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because Sony bought them.
I heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Small news, you know?
Small news, like tiny. This would have been a huge news story, like a few months ago.
Yeah, I mean, after Activision, like, I'm numb at this point. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
you know,
I totally was just like, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It continues.
I was like, what did Bungie do? Like, apart from Halo, and yeah, it doesn't. And it's just Destiny. It's just like, oh, okay.
A lot of Destiny stuff. Which
so I didn't like Destiny, but I totally get why. I get why it was a great game. I get why it had a huge fan base. I get why it was successful. Destiny 2 just wasn't at my street, so it's not even in my sphere. So I don't know about you if you've had any more. You've played Destiny 1, didn't you?
Yeah, I played Destiny 1 and 2. I sort of fell off the wagon like soon after release of both of them. Because I'm not really a live service type of person. Like, I just don't get hooked into that sort of thing. Like, I like to finish a game and see the credits. I'm like, that was cool, and then move on, sort of thing. I like the endings to stuff. Like, it's one of my rules, like, as a concept artist, when I say to juniors that are asking me questions, like, don't play games with no credits ever, because like you'll just waste time. Like, don't play World of Warcraft.
Right. Oh, okay.
Don't play Final Fantasy 14. Don't play Destiny, where like they keep adding quests every 5 minutes, because like you'll just get distracted and then it'll never work. Yeah, it's one of my golden rules. So it's sort of
like World
Destiny
of Warcraft
falls
off limits. Like
Destiny sort of falls into that sort of thing.
I think so. Yeah, you can waste some hours, definitely, and that was my experience. Like, I wasted a lot of. I was in the game for several hours, and it just doesn't feel like I was achieving anything. And the game was doing a really good job of, you know.
It keeps you in. Yeah.
Doing the same thing. But then I was like, this is just the same. This is just grinding. I didn't want a grinding game. That was my experience. So that's going to Sony now.
PlayStation are clapping back against Xbox and stuff, like after the Activision. Like, no, this deal was done months ago.
They weren't like, quick, we got to buy someone.
Bungie,
Bungie, can we buy you? Yeah, okay, we'll buy you. Okay, fine.
Oh, that was close.
Yeah.
Yeah, one studio for, you know, like an entire publishing arm. Like, no, that's not what happened.
Yeah, these things take a time. They're like,
Yeah. I mean, this, if anything, this is a response to the Xbox acquisition of Bethesda. This has got nothing to do with the Activision stuff. I still think there's a response coming for the Activision stuff, but it's still months away, because there's definitely rumors.
Like EA?
No, I don't think they can't afford EA.
No, and it's too much red tape, isn't it?
It's too much red tape. Square Enix.
Is that a Japanese one? Square Enix, yeah.
I think it's Square Enix. It's got to be.
Yeah, that makes most sense.
I think so, but I don't know. I mean, it could be someone like Capcom. You never know.
So this does seem like there is a trend of like the market's getting carved up, and the competitors are, you know, the big two or
conglomerates.
Like, Nintendo's not doing anything. The big two are like, you know, going, oh, okay, here's where the money is now. We buy them up, and then we can control them. Which, yeah, that's true. That's totally legit.
Yeah, it's content wars, man. Like
Content wars.
It's Hulu versus Netflix. That's what this is.
Yes.
It's the best way to look at it.
Do you think there's going to be an overall winner, or do you think they're going to find their own? This is the thing, though. I think it's not going to end the same as like a live streaming TV service, because with video games, there's so much diversity and it's growing. You can't grow the concept of watching TV.
Right.
But with video games, it's so diverse that there is space for everyone, I think. And like there's space for Xbox to own these type of games, and there's space for Sony to own their type of games.
Yeah. That's tough.
And so I think it's great, because what it means is if everyone gets brought up, that means that it's going to be a huge influx at the bottom, like the bottom feeders, like you and me, Vin.
Yeah,
so
the indie devs.
The indie devs. So there's going to be a lot more like money floating down to the bottom, churning up the scum on the bottom, like we are, because they're going to want to pull up some studios. They're going to want to grow some medium studios, turn them into big ones, and then buy the heck out of them so they can like control them and own them.
Yeah, there's been a lot of worry about like monopolies and all that sort of stuff. Like especially over the past month, obviously we had 3 major acquisitions. Like Take-Two obviously bought some people, and then we've got like the Activision stuff from Xbox, and now Bungie's been bought. Like that was all in the month of January, which is sort of bananas in of itself.
What a year, hey?
It's what a month. Never mind a year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like getting your head around that in and of itself is it's kind of nuts. But there's obviously a lot of concern about monopolies and like, you know, these people sort of joining together. But like to that point, what you just said, like I think that's why I have no sort of worry about that, because no matter what happens, like even if worst case scenario came around and everyone was like, oh no, what if Xbox buy everyone? And it's just like, it is a monopoly and they do own every single publisher, then there's still room for the industry to grow. There's still room for indie developers.
An indie dev platform. Yeah.
Still an indie developer. And people say, well, what can indie do? It's like, okay, Minecraft.
Yes.
That was an indie game. Now the biggest game of all time. So if they can break out of that, then there's going to be plenty of other games in the future that do it as well. Yeah. That's why I have no worries about it.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's very healthy. It's very buoyant. As long as ideas are being able to be presented to the masses, then there'll be those Minecrafts every maybe 10 years or so. Like there'll be another one that comes along, and I'm not worried about it. And neither should the gamers or the players. It's all good. This is just capitalism working. It's magic, I think. Yeah,
I mean, because the way that I'm looking at it more than anything is the competition between Xbox and Sony is healthier than ever, which is good, because last generation was an example of how stagnant we can get with this stuff. Xbox just weren't doing anything, pretty much. Like the whole meme of Xbox has no games was absolutely correct. And that's the reality of this. It's like, PlayStation did really, really well, but it really, like, they had no incentive to be pushed or do anything or change anything different. And if it continued the same this generation, then we'd get a God of War 2. We'd get a Horizon Zero Dawn 3. We'd get a Last of Us Part 3. We'd get Ghost of Tsushima 2. And this would just go on and on and on. We might get 1 or 2 new IP. That'd be about it. And it would just, like, this cycle would continue and continue, which sounds great for PlayStation fans, but, like, after a couple of Last of Us games and after a couple of, like, there's only so many action-adventure games you're going to want to play, pretty much. So, like, having this sort of competition, I think, is extremely healthy for, like, the other side of the market, which is, like, now we've got, like, these beasts going against each other. Obviously, like, Bungie has just been bought. And the reason for that, I think, honestly, I don't think it's anything to do with Destiny. I don't think PlayStation care about Destiny. It's a free-to-play game. They're not going to make any money out of it outside of hats anyway, you know?
So why do you think they did it?
I think they did it purely because of the experience that Bungie have got of putting out a live service game, which PlayStation does not have. Oh. They are buying experience. That's it.
Oh, that's very clever. And that relates to the, them releasing 10 live service games by 2026. So
they're looking around together. Like, there's a lot of money in this live service thing. We've got no idea how to make these things. We just put out Destruction All-Stars. It bombed. How the hell do you do this? Who knows how to do this? Who's been doing this for, like, really long? It's Let's like, okay, Epic Games making Fortnite. We can't really afford them. Like, and they're not going to tell us how to do it because it'll be direct competition. That'd be stupid. Okay, who else? We got
Yeah.
The Division.
And then
They did
cross-platform,
okay.
we don't get anywhere near that. Yeah.
The Division, they did okay, but we really don't want to buy out like the whole of Ubisoft. Like, that'd be crazy. Like, and we can't really afford them because we're PlayStation. We don't have that much money at this moment. We'd have to borrow a lot of money, and that'd be a big investment just for that sort of one thing. So they're looking around, and Bungie is just the perfect hitter in that respect, I think. Like, they're a live service team. They've been independent from doing this themselves, and it's sort of the perfect fit for that.
They don't release too many. They haven't got too many games that they've bought, so it's relatively cheap, I guess. Like they're buying 100% of what they needed. Like, there's no fat.
No, yeah, you're right. There is absolutely no fat in this. Like,
there's
there's
a lean cut. Right, what they got.
Yeah, single studio, hyper successful. Everything that they do makes money. That's in and of itself is great, but the fact that they can now just walk in and be like with a notebook and be like, all right, how do we make a live service game? Go. You know, that.
Like, okay, give me the pen. Here we go. This is how we do it. And then,
And it's just Herman Hall sat there like, oh my God, like, why didn't we do this before?
Yeah.
I think
that's what you paid for.
I honestly think that's because I think this acquisition was something like 3.6 billion, which honestly is way overpriced, way over.
Wow.
And there's a lot of people that are talking about the fact that I'm pretty sure this was a counteroffer from Xbox. Xbox probably knew about this, and they were probably trying to get Bungie themselves. They were probably trying to get Bungie back. Little known fact, and what PlayStation fanboys like the toxic ones sort of dancing around at the moment and really loving this fact. But
is it like Sony bought Master Chief?
A bit worse than that. Phil Spencer's favorite game happens to be Destiny.
Oh yes, it is. Yes,
pretty brutal. So I mean,
you can still play it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I honestly think that Phil Spencer's sort of goal is to just keep the industry healthy, and I think he's genuinely okay with this because he can.
And he's probably like, that haptic feedback on the PlayStation is actually going to be...
It's probably a bit better than ours,
It's probably a bit better than the Xbox, so, you know...
I mean, this is the great thing about the two heads of Sony and Xbox, or Microsoft Game Studios as it is now, Phil Spencer and Herman Hulst. They're gamers.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah, they're gamers, and they're
great.
Professional, and they chat, and they're not like fanboys.
No.
They're professional business people. They'll have a conversation if they see each other. You know, they spend a lot of time in the same sort of places. That's the industry. It's a small industry still, even though it's huge and growing. Still a small industry. So yeah, and there would be news if there was any like ill thought for each other. And
I just don't think there is any at all. I think like even when they announced this, they had like a Twitter feed of it saying, Bungie is joining PlayStation. Literally the first tweet underneath that is Phil Spencer saying, "Congratulations, guys! This is a really great get. Really looking forward to see what you do in the future." And Herman Hulst replies to Phil Spencer, like, "Thanks, Phil. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to, like, this is a great day for gamers." All that sort of stuff. And it's just like, this is what it's about.
That's the healthy. Yeah. That's the healthy things we want to see. That's how fanboys should be talking. Like,
and this is
for you. Like, good for you that you're having a good time. Like, that's how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, there was, when they announced this deal, I bet Phil Spencer was like, "God damn it, like, I wish we got Bungie."
I wish we could have got Bungie.
Right.
Yeah,
but I don't think there's any ill will against this. At the end of the day, like, Phil Spencer just got Activision. It's like, all right, you can have Bungie, I guess. Like, yeah. That's fair. Yeah. You know.
And this is the thing. It's not like he's probably got a PlayStation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's got it on his shelf, like, behind him in all the meetings and stuff, like, next to his Switch. Okay. You know, like, he's a gamer. Like, he plays these games, and it's the same about Shuya Yoshida, like the guy that runs the Sony sort of independent division, like, for all the indie games. He used to run PlayStation Studios, but Herman Hulst took over from him. Now he only runs the indie developer stuff. Constantly playing games. Constantly. He was actually the one that recommended Death's Door, and he was the reason why I downloaded it. So it's just like, it's really great that we're at this point. And I think with that in mind, I don't think any of these guys really have any ill intention to stifle the industry in any way. I think they're happy that this stuff is starting to happen because it means security for these studios, and it means that we're going to get a lot more games. There's going to be a lot more competition. Nothing but good news. Yeah, this will continue. There will be more. And I'm pretty sure because there's lags behind, they're normally doing these deals before the end of fiscal. So and they probably have to announce them before the fiscal year. So next month is going to be crazy. There's going to be a few more of these, I think. So buckle up, people. It's coming.
Yes, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's a buoyant time. So in other news, there's the... You didn't watch the state of play of Gran Turismo 7, did you?
I didn't. No, I missed it.
I didn't watch it, but I've seen some like memes and some feedback and like the Twitter response, and seems like it's Gran Turismo 7. There's some cool there's this weird, funny little animation. One little thing that really made me giggle was because you can customize your cars way more than in the Forza series.
Okay.
That's always been the case. It's no surprise at all. One of the things you can do, it showed like a classic BMW, where you can like widen the track of the car, so like the wheels are further apart, and then the body kit like bulges out at the wheel arches.
Okay.
But to do that, you have to like click the buttons like, do you want to extend the wheelbase? It's like yes, and then there's like a little animation of like people grabbing hold, like 4 mechanics grabbing hold of the wheels and then pulling, and it's like it happens like 2 or 3 seconds, and then it disappears, and then it shows you like the upgrade that you've done, and like little touches like that. It's just like
I love that shit.
I've never seen that in a Gran Turismo game before, and so that's just that's really a nice little touch.
Yeah, I get angry at like games companies that forget that games need to be fun. You know, it doesn't matter how, like even if it's
fine,
even if it's a driving simulator.
If you've got a driving simulator and it's super like professionals will use it, and it'll have like racing drivers that will use it, and you can still have fun every now and again and do little silly bits and bobs.
Yeah, this is why like you can like you play Microsoft Flight Simulator, like the most serious game in human history. You can still fly around in like the Red Baron plane, you know, and do loops and stuff like. It's still fun, you know, like you can still draw massive penises in the grass and lawnmower simulator. It's just people are going to do it, so you might as well just embrace it, you know. So I love that stuff.
Might as well give them a template to draw.
Do you need one, Chris? That's the real question.
Next version.
Right.
Well,
you know,
take it from reference shot. It wouldn't take long though. That.
Hey, you said it, man.
I need a mow anyway. Actually, speaking of. Yes, so that I saw some reactions to that, and so I think it's been pushed back as well. But I'm not the best person. I should have done some research for this podcast, Vin. I'm a bit of an unprofessional. Probably. I do apologise. I'm a bit hungover, to be honest with you. So
you look it. If I'm honest, I'm joking.
Doing this for free, so what do you want from me? Google it.
Speaking of Google, real quick.
Yes, that's a good segue.
Yeah, that was a great segue, even though we just mentioned the segue, so it sort of destroys the fact that it is a segue. Anyway, Google have got some news. Only going to go over this real quick because it is news to no one if you've been paying any attention whatsoever, which is Google Stadia is dead or dying. Google have officially started to try and phase this thing out. People have been leaving the company for months now. They've finally started to quote-unquote deprioritize as it focuses on streaming tech. They're basically trying to sell off the Google Stadia arm, and so someone else can pick it up and rename it. Who's going to pick that up? I'm not too sure. But.
Well, they're trying to sell it to Peloton or something, or like company experiences and things like that. So it'll still be used, but it's just not going to be the big streaming platform that people might have thought it could be.
Which sucks for the people that bought into it and have bought games through the service, because it's like Steam. You have to buy the games on their platform and then you've got access to it there. It's not like you've bought Steam games and you have access to it through Google Stadia. It's like it's its own enclosed thing. So like if you want to play those games in the future, you have to go wherever the service goes to whatever company buys it. So if Peloton, did you say, were thinking about buying it? Did they make bikes?
Yeah, the biking thing.
It sort of makes sense. Like if you're riding on your bike and you can play a game while you're doing it, but like
to use the platform to stream the person that's doing the coaching, because it's like a video.
That makes sense.
So I think it's like that, and then maybe like companies like maybe automotive industry can use it for when they need to stream information to maybe like in-house entertainment potentially.
Sure.
Messages, adverts and things, because we're going to have adverts in cars soon, that sort of thing. Using it for other uses other than gaming. That's the idea.
Yeah.
I think someone's lost their job is now reporting to someone else now.
Yeah, it's just they're shuffling people around. It's dead. It's done. Sort of seeing it.
This is the thing. It didn't have anything unique. It didn't offer anything unique. That it wasn't solving a problem.
No. I honestly think that xCloud just beat it out. That was all. Like Microsoft,
Google. They had. If anyone could do it, it's Google.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with Google.
this-
They have all these ideas, and they have the means, they have the money, they have the resources, they can hire the right people, all this sort of stuff. But they have this weird thing where, like, if it doesn't work in 12 months, they kill it. Like, they don't let it go beyond that sort of thing, and they don't invest in it past like the 3-month mark. Like, they put all the investment in it for like 3 months after release, and then they're like, okay, now wait back and see. If it does okay, in 12 months we'll carry on reinvesting into this, but if it doesn't, then we just kill it. And we've seen it over and over again with a lot of different products from Google's side of publishing these sort of things. But yeah, it's a shame that because the games industry, it proves that the well-established companies know what the hell they're doing, and the fact that Microsoft can come in as Xbox, and Xbox have sort of got this thing figured out because they understand it from a gamer's perspective of, like, you can't just go streaming 100% yet. We still need to have downloading ability, otherwise it just sort of falls on its face. And the fact this is wrapped into a different service as well, like Game Pass, it's nuts that was a thing. But
yeah, so that's a shame.
It's a shame. Sorry about all the people that have lost their jobs, and I hope that they find work quickly. And it also sucks for all the gamers that bought stuff through that platform, because brutal. Like, that's how it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So yeah, that's kind of the news then.
Yeah, a lot of little things apart from the
little things.
Sony
bits and
budget
bobs. Yeah, the Sony budget thing was actually pretty huge, but
pretty
not
huge.
much ground to not much.
Yeah,
to say
there's really
other
not
than
much.
speculation.
Like, they were bought out. It was a lot of money. I'm pretty sure they overpaid because it was a counter offer. I think they were only bought for their live service expertise, if I'm honest.
I think you're right. That checks out.
It's going to be a while before we see anything out of that company other than Destiny 2 stuff anyway, so I don't think Xbox gamers are going to miss out for a long time. So,
True. Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. So the landscape might be changing then, because everyone always thought Call of Duty and Destiny was just going to be on everything for all time, but
Yeah, stuff is changing.
Yeah,
But I mean,
so
if we
slowly.
like I've been saying, if we can get to this promised land where the game services are on everything, then it won't matter anyway. So that's the golden vision. So that's, hopefully we get to that sooner rather than later, so everyone can play everything still.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, definitely.
Cool.
Speaking of games,
Yeah,
you've
there
been
is a lot
playing
of
Dying
games.
Light 2.
I have been playing Dying Light 2. Yeah, started playing it.
What are your thoughts? What do you think?
It's good. It's very much like the first game, which it's a sequel, but it's a little bit rough around the edge. I think the reviews have mentioned this quite a lot in terms of, like, the actual quality of the game, and in terms of the
Like bugs?
bugs. Yeah, basically, it's hampered by, like, some of that sort of stuff. And it's just little things so far. It's nothing game breaking. It's not crazy. Like, I've seen some hyperbolic tweets out there of people saying, "Oh, it's worse than Cyberpunk." It's like, no, it's not. It's really, really not.
The press would be saying that if it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
jump on that. Like, that writes itself if it was the case.
And it sort of goes with the thing that we was mentioning last week, I think, when I was saying, like, the only games that really get trashed for their bugs are the games that get reviewed poorly, and this is sort of falling into that, because Dying Light 2 has done okay, like, in reviews. Like, a couple of people are giving it 9s, but for the most part it's getting 7s. So it's sort of in that firing line of people are noticing the bugs because it's been reviewed a little bit lower than everyone else. So yeah, it's a bit weird. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I actually think it's great. Like, it's very much the same sort of deal as before. Like, it's a Mirror's Edge with zombies. You just run around the streets and you do little side quests and have fun. Just don't pay too much attention to the really god awful story, because, like, the narrative in it is just hilarious.
Have you noticed the scenery changing of decisions you make? Is it like you make some big decisions in the game, don't you?
I haven't gotten that far in yet.
Okay.
It hasn't, like, sort of shown itself, but I've heard that the decisions don't actually matter too much towards the end of the game anyway. Like, the story sort of plays out the same, so it's not that big of a deal either way.
I don't mind that as long as it's a good story. Like
Yeah, that's not why I play this game. So I don't really
like
know.
Mirror's Edge with Zombies. Yeah, that sounds great.
It's just fun to play. That's the thing. Like, you're running around the rooftops and you're killing zombies. Like, what mod you want, sort of thing.
Yeah, you got a machete. And fair enough. Like,
honestly, the only piece of criticism that I've really got for the game so far is the impressive level of bad voice acting in this game is just it's comically hilariously bad. It's just really, really bad.
Oh, that's a shame.
So if you're one of those people that sort of gets annoyed by bad voice acting, you might want to watch a couple of reviews. I think the GameSpot review mentioned this as well. Like, they made a whole section of their review about the bad voice acting. I was like, it can't be that bad. And I was playing it. I was like, it's pretty bad. Like, it's really, really bad. So there's that.
I'll check that out just for the fun of it. Then that might be one that I just play. Maybe I won't buy it then, because you had to buy it because is it the first game you've played?
Yeah, I played it full price. I was okay with that because Dying Light 1 was one of my favorite games last generation. Same issues, like, it had bugs, it had bad voice acting, the story wasn't great. Just had a great time playing it. It's just one of those weird games that I just get hooked into, and I'm just like, you're running around like across rooftops and you find a bag and you're scavenging through it, and it's like a zombie attacks you and then you kick them off the side of the building. It's just that loop of doing that stuff is just, it's addictive. Like, I can't really explain why I love it so much. And that's the main thing which I do want to say about this game more than anything, is that I don't want to be too critical on it, and I would say to people, ignore the reviews as much as humanly possible for this game in particular, because Dying Light 1 was supported by the developers for 5 years after release. They never stopped working on that game. And the condition of Dying Light 1 when it first released compared to what it's like today, and they're still updating it today, is night and day. It's completely different. Like, no pun intended. Wow. It's like they updated the character models, they updated like voice actors, they updated quests, they ironed stuff out, and the game is like pristine.
Recorded audio.
Yeah, they changed a lot of stuff. So I would say, like, don't pay too much attention. Like, if you're watching this after the fact, like in 2 years' time in like 2024, it's like, what did they think of Dying Light 2? Don't listen to me.
It won't be in the same condition.
It won't be the same game.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully so.
They'll have different areas and different. So, like, there's that. So, if you are like on the fence about it, wait 6 months. I'm sure it'll be a great game in 6 months. I think it's got a few things that they need to iron out, but it's there. It's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm in this position where, like, I don't have enough money for a PS5, and I couldn't get one even if I wanted to, and I could have the money for it. And I've got, Horizon Zero.
Oh, it's on Xbox. I'm playing it on Series X.
Oh yeah, what? Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, you're talking about Horizon.
Like, I'm talking about Horizon Forbidden West. Like, yeah, sorry.
My bad. Sorry, I cut you off then.
So I don't, like, in terms of paying money for a game, like, Dying Light 2 is not on my list at all, because I can't even afford to get the game that I'm super hyped about.
Right.
Like, but I was considering it, and I checked my account, and I went out last night. And yeah, so there's some cash that's been spent there.
Hence the hangover.
Going out. Hence the hangover.
Hence the hangover.
Spent the money.
So you've not played anything this week?
I haven't really played much this week, no. But I did play last week. I didn't talk about it last week, I pinched myself because you know what's coming.
Yeah, I do. I might just mute
Effect.
you. Yeah, go for it. I'll see you in 5.
Legendary Edition. It's so good. Nostalgia. It's in space, making decisions. But this time, I'm being a rogue. Like, I'm being a...
Oh, you're actually playing something different.
Yeah, because it was Paragon. Like, my first playthrough, I was like male shepherd, and I was Paragon, and now I'm renegade femshep.
Femshep.
And that's what she's called. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard that expression in like 5 years, so it's kind of it just cracked me up.
It's great, and she's like playing it now as a guy in the UK, where we've been going through Brexit. And it's about the politics between like aliens and humanity coming in and like pushing their way into this galactic council and like telling everyone how things should be done, and like being a renegade, like a example of humanity. And then like I'm just like, I don't like other aliens, like, oh, I'm gonna cut off the council's like voice transmission because I don't like what they're saying, and like you're all idiots, and it's just like, this is really hitting home. Like this is like,
Feeling
how
good.
could they have known? Like when they were writing it back in 2007 or whatever it was, or pre 2007.
Yeah.
Like how it's like really hitting a chord that no one could have foreseen, and it's hilarious, and it's fun. It's funny as well because just the delivery and just like the tone of it when you go renegade, it's funny. It's not gritty. It's not like, oh, this is hard hitting, or maybe it was back then, and it's just
just
funny
the industry
now.
changed. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see like
So
people's perceptions of it.
It's like this whole new lease of life it's given me, because also I'm getting the other voice actor. She's brilliant, and the fact that I'm just like pissing everyone off when like having a conversation, like any chance I get, I'm trying to piss everyone off and just go renegade.
Gold.
But still, the people love me, and they still want to hang out with me, and they still want to be in my team, and they still want to like potentially die for me.
So it's not completely
great.
lining up with that sort of stuff, but
yeah. So that's all that's all like, because you can't make it real. Like if you're just
they can't
an
make two
idiot all
games,
the
man.
time.
Like that'd be insane. So they gotta mix it up
We've
a
got
little
to do
bit.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm like 3/4 of the way through, or like halfway through.
You're on the
but
first
my
game, though, right?
On the first game, but my memory of it is so, like, it's weird. Like I've forgotten most of the game. And so it's like rediscovering it is there was enough amount of time for it to feel fresh again. Some of it's clunky, and some of it's like, oh, I wish I had a jump button. I wish there was stuff I could jump
Sure,
over.
yeah, but you've got to respect like the legacy, I guess. Like it's a game of its time, it came out what?
But it didn't have
10
the
years,
first one.
10, 15 years ago now.
Yeah, I remember playing it, but the first one never had cover shooting, so they've implemented cover shooting.
Yeah,
And it's really silky smooth. They've done a really good job on it, considering how old the game is. They've done a great job in implementing that mechanic, and that changes it no end as well. And the UI is great, and so I can see the improvements. But it looks like I remember, which is, I guess, good. So
it's isn't it strange when that happens on remasters, when you're like, you haven't played it for 10 years or something, and then you come back around, it's like, this looks exactly the same, and then you go and look at a screenshot of like how it actually looked when you first played it, and you're like, oh my god, did it look like that?
Yeah, and your brain just is like, I'm gonna color this in, I'm gonna shade some bits over here, I'm gonna up the resolution in your memory to like make it look like this, and
Great.
So I'm really having a good time with it. But yeah, I've just had some. If you could see my living room, I've had some bits going on, and I've not had much time to do much else over the weekends.
Fair play.
So that's all I've been playing. Have you been playing anything else?
I did finish a game from start to finish, as well as I've just started Dying Light. I'm only about like 5 hours into it or something. Like I'm not too far into it, but before that, I actually played, which I did mention last week, was Call of Duty Vanguard. Did get around to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you played it all now. What are your thoughts?
Finished from start to finish. The reviews on that game are absolute BS. That's what I can say. That game really isn't that bad. I actually really enjoyed it, which really surprised me. Like, a lot of people really trashed that game. They said, oh, it's kind of like, it's meant to be like Inglourious Bastards of like the video game world and stuff, and the characters aren't really that believable and all this sort of stuff, and like, oh, the story's boring and it doesn't... I had a great time with the campaign. I thought it was great. Like, I really don't understand why people were trashing this thing. Like, I can understand, like, if they've got, like, qualms with the single player, the multiplayer, sorry, because I don't really play that anyway. But the single player, like, I remember, like, the credits were rolling. I was like, that was pretty good. Like, I don't really know why did no one like that?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's the weird thing I got about the reviews is that they pinpointed specific things that they liked. A lot of it was usually Laura Bailey's performance and stuff, and like her.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, she's really good.
But then they said at the detriment to the others, like it meant that the others weren't as fleshed out, and you could see it. But like you got Dominic Monaghan as like the German guy.
He was great. The Gestapo guy, like the guy that's is like interrogating the 4 characters, because the way that the story works out, like you have this group of characters that are together, and you're like this elite team that have been sort of sent to infiltrate like high command Nazi sort of thing to get intel for the war, and the war is coming to an end, and it's at the very, very end. But as you're in the cell and you go like one by one, you're taken by like Dominic Monaghan's like character into like the interrogation room, you sort of go through their backstories of like how they got recruited and why they got recruited into this team of like this ragtag group of people and their like past experiences. And it
sounds like really unique for a Call of Duty game. Like
it's different as well.
Structure sounds great. Yeah.
Really cinematic, like all these cool set pieces of like being a what you call it, like a Russian sniper during the Stalingrad sort of takeover, the occupation by the Nazis, and then it switches over to you being a pilot in a plane, and then the plane crashing on a Pacific island, and then you getting hunted down by the Japanese in the jungle and stuff. And it's just like the different places that you should play the game in. It's kind of nuts. Like you go all over the place, and it's very cinematic. It's very fun. It's very Call of Duty. It's very like popcorn style of game. Yeah. But it does what a video game is supposed to do, like it entertains you, and it does it great, like absolutely perfectly. So I can't knock it too much. But yeah, Laura Bailey was great in it, and the game looks absolutely phenomenal. Like in just the way that it looks, you could tell where the money goes, sort of thing. And I just can't get over the reviews. Like I went to watch like a couple of reviews after I finished the game because I thought they really gave this game a hard time. I really don't think it deserved it, like the bad flack that it got. But
this is the thing, the marketing did a good job at communicating what sort of game it was going to be as well, I thought.
I'd say.
Not that I've played it, but like I've watched a lot of gameplay and I've watched the trailers, and like the gameplay like totally is like, yes, I thought this was going to be the sort of game, and it totally is. And that those games usually
it's exactly what it is, what it says on the tin, Yeah,
it's a popcorn Call of Duty game. That's a shame.
Yeah, it's very. I recommend it though. Like it's a decent little game, like a little game. It's like the biggest game of last year, but it's I mean, I really enjoyed the campaign. I thought it was as good as World War II and Modern Warfare because I really enjoyed their campaigns as well. I really like this renaissance of the single player Call of Duty as well. Like we sort of lost that for a while, like during the 360 era. Like after like Modern Warfare 2, I think the single players just started going down, but now it's started to come back a little bit because I don't really play multiplayer anymore. Like I tried playing Vanguard multiplayer. I went into a few matches, and then just kids with pink guns hopped up on Red Bull were just murdering me. And I was just like, yeah, never mind. I've got better things to do in my day instead of like getting absolutely rinsed by these kids. So yeah. Good times.
There should be an age rating, shouldn't there? Like the elites should be like the 12 to 15-year-olds. Like they should just go off and play themselves.
I'd say the better they are, the younger they get. Like that's
there
how
should
it
be
is.
like old fogies, like
a
bit further down, and like they can just chill out and just not hear voices breaking, which they can't help, obviously.
Just voices breaking and with racial slurs and stuff. Like that's basically what Call of Duty is, unfortunately. Everyone knows it. Like it's no secret. So you know what you get, sort of thing. The only thing I would recommend is if you do join the online multiplayer stuff playing on console, make sure you go and turn off the cross play because it's not fun. Good. Yeah, if you play against a PC player, you're gonna have a bad time, basically, like a really bad time. Like throw your controller at the ceiling, bad time. Like it's not fun. Don't do that. But yeah, the single play was great. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Oh, that's cool. So next month or whenever like Horizon's out, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because they'll be like, I need to play it. Do I just get it on PS4 Pro?
Honestly, like from what I've seen online so far, there's been a lot of like comparison videos by like Digital Foundry and stuff. Like they've been sort of comparing the PS4 Pro version and the PlayStation 5 version. There's really not that much difference because from a developer standpoint anyway, like what we normally do is we develop games for the lowest denominator. So for like anything that we do at Ubisoft, we basically design the game for Xbox One base model, and then everything else just gets scaled up from there. So that's usually how it goes. So with Horizon Forbidden West, it's absolutely going to be designed for the base PS4 that came out in 2013. That's what they're designing that game on.
So it will run on that,
Yeah, so it has to run on that. So therefore, everything else is just a step up. So I think the PS4 Pro version isn't going to be too dissimilar from Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't think there's going to be any detriment to that. I would probably say don't play it on the base PS4, but since you have a Pro, I think you should be fine, man. I really do.
Yeah, might get away with it. Because
I think the difference at that point is like It's just like you're still playing it in 4K. It's just, do you want to play it in 30 FPS or 60? That's the question. And if you're okay with 30, then screw it.
I'm okay.
Just buy it. You know.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I will be playing it in 4K, 60 FPS, Chris, and I'm going to rub it in your face. I'm joking. I honestly don't think it's going to look that much different. I really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're going to be fine. And I don't think actually this conversation matters, because once it comes out and you see the first reviews, you're probably just going to go and buy it anyway because you're going to be excited. So.
Yeah, I think so. And it's gearing up. I think I've heard all good stuff so far, so I'm very hopeful.
Oh, it's going to be a banger. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Indeed.
What do you guys think? Are you looking forward to anything? Have you been playing the games we've been playing? Do you agree with Vin's opinions or mine? Or do you have alternative opinions? Please let us know, and we would like to tell you how you're wrong and get back to you about that. We'll be nice though. And
Indeed.
Nice, and we'll all be nice together.
Yes. So please like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you disagree with us. It's always fun. Yeah. And all that good stuff. Hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when we do go live. Did mention before, but I'll mention it again. We are going to be on a guest podcast of Pixel Pints podcast next week, we think. If not, then it's going to be pretty soon in the future. And we're also coming up to a solo dev roundtable. I think that's due soon.
Yes.
So we'll be showing off our progress of our indie games. So if you are into that sort of thing, then please check back.
Join us
for that and join us for that, because Sam has got some talking to do, especially about his game, because it better not be an RPG Maker game. It probably is going to be, so I'm going to be disappointed either way. Or
it'd be both, and he would have done a fraction of work because he's doing 2 games at once.
Yeah, that's my worry, man.
We'll see.
We shall see. We'll see.
So in the meantime, if we want to look at your art... Oh, yeah, because you had a big art dump, didn't you, Finn?
I did. I can finally say that it's not... Like, no artwork is coming up. It is now out. So if you are into Rainbow Six Extraction, you can go and check out all the concept art, which I did at ArtStation. They've got a feature for the Art Blast as well, so you'll probably find it on the main page there. But if you want to see what I did specifically, then just search Vin Hill Art on ArtStation. You will find it. Like, I've finally posted it. There's like 20 images that I've done, and yeah, it was fun to work on. So go check them out.
Great images. They're just really insightful, and yeah, it's just, even if you just like looking at some art, there's some new art that you can go look at that's pretty nice to look at. It just happens that this has done a job for a purpose. Indeed.
Yeah, it was fun to work on, so if you want to go and check that out, then you can there. But for my indie stuff, you can find me on Twitter. I am at Hillfort Games. It's been getting a bit of attention recently, which is kind of weird. I'm still trying to get my head around all the wonderful feedback that people has been giving me. Like, it's been really great, but like, I still need to make a game. So yeah, please, like, give me a follow if you actually want to see how that gets done, because who knows. But Chris, how about you, man? Like, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Acrylic Pixels, where I post most of my indie dev stuff. I've got a TikTok where I'm just posting the same as Twitter, which is Acrylic Pixel as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just using that to dump the stuff I put on Twitter. I'm not. Yeah, you can follow me on that if you're 12.
Yeah, and you're like girls dancing, because that's all I ever heard, and really annoying robot voices. That moment when you like that woman's voice. Oh, I just want to. God, if that's a real person, I feel sorry for her. That's all I can say. It's just, that voice just grinds me, man. It just grinds me.
Okay, so no Twitter, no TikTok for you then, Vin.
No TikTok for me. Sorry, not yet anyway. And if I do, then I'd probably hire someone else to do the TikTok stuff for me, because I just don't even want to look at it. I'm good. Like, TikTok has been put into my blocked words on Twitter, along with Sony ponies and Xbots and NFTs. Like, they're the things that are just like, I just never see anymore. So I'm like,
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
And how is it? Are you loving it? Is it like social media good again?
It's peaceful. It's very peaceful.
That's good. Right, this is probably a good place to
we should wrap this
place up. to wrap it up.
Indeed.
Thank you very much for joining us. And yes, we'll be on the Pixel Pints podcast next week, and we'll have the Indie Dev Solo Indie Dev Roundtable episode 4.
It's 4, yeah, 4 in. Jesus, 4 months in.
Yeah. So that's coming. So all to look forward to. Until next time, though, take it easy.
Ta-ta.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.